Please welcome out all four guys that are currently making up the Grassroots. Get it for Dusty, Larry, Joe, and Mark. That's what Puckett did yesterday, so we're all right. Yeah, he almost right onto the stage. Hey, how's it going, guys? Come on up. Oh, there's Dusty. Thought we lost the Dusty there for a minute. We got you. You're here. Okay, good. This is a TV show, as everybody knows. So we're going to count to 3. The audience is going to go crazy, and then we're going to chat with some of our favorite folks. Here we go. 1, 2. All right. The love, you can feel it in the room. Good afternoon, my live studio audience, and those of you watching back in the room. I am your cruise host, Jason, and welcome to another edition of All Access Pass. I am sitting with yet another group of legends right here on this stage. These guys are as good as it gets, and there's a reason we book them anytime we can get them. Give it up for the Grassroots. Now, before we go too far, I want to just say to all 4 of you, thank you very much for being here. We do truly appreciate it. It means the world to not only me, but I know I speak for the folks out here when I say we love having you. We just love having you.
It's the best place to be on Earth, not just on the sea.
What is the cruise like for you guys? I got to ask, what's the cruise like? What's it like to be out here and performing on the 60s? Any one of you can tell.
Oh, it's wonderful. What is this? 5th time? Is this
oh, yeah, you guys have been out here a bunch, yeah.
It's just great. You know, we've done some other cruises, which we won't name.
No, that's okay.
But just hands down, this is the one.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's really, you feel the vibe. People are fired up about this whole flower power thing. It's different than any other cruise.
It is a unique experience. It is. And I know there's other cruises, and don't for one second think that we don't look down on any of the other cruises. I'm glad they're out there. I really am. I mean, it keeps the music alive in any way, shape, or form that it can. And if we're blessed enough to have you with us, that's great. But if you guys work another cruise, we appreciate that. And we're one of the few charters out there, and this is getting off track, but we're one of the very few music charters out there that never punishes an act for working with another cruise. We encourage it. We want it.
That's truth. Yeah, you guys have been.
Yeah.
And it's always important to promote the category, not just.
Yes.
Business rule number 1 is promote the category.
Yeah.
And so for all of us to be successful is fantastic. All the different cruises.
Yeah, I think what sets this one apart really is this is all about music.
Yeah.
You know, the last one we did, and yeah, sometimes it can almost seem like the music's an afterthought.
Sure.
A bit of one, but you had a great rap the last time that we were on, and you were introducing somebody. I think it might have been Danny. I forget who it was, but you just basically you said, you know what? There's so much going on in the world. There's so much angst. And there's this political stuff. It was the nicest way of saying, leave your politics out of it. And your last line was like, leave it there on the gangway because it's all going to be there when you get off. And it really is a music vibe. It's very cool here.
Cheers.
Yeah, I think I could say as far as the artists, as to each other as well as to all our friends and fans, we've become one huge family. It's just, it's all about music. We have the common denominator.
Dusty's being awfully quiet down there at the end. It's freaking me out.
He's thinking.
Yeah.
I'm in shock.
Yeah.
I like coming out here because we get our egos all bloated up because you guys all come up to us and say, you guys are fabulous. We love you. And boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that kind of love at home. So I come here and I get all the love.
Yeah, you feel like, maybe I am somebody.
Yeah. It is true. I'm as we've all discussed before, it is not lost on me what I get to do, to sit up here with folks like yourself and all the other entertainers and acts that I get to interview. And that is a common thread that I hear from a lot of the entertainers, regardless of where they are on the marquee or what lounge they play or what room. everybody almost always echoes the same sentiment, which is you're fans too. Not just do you get to receive all the love, but you get to show love. Because you said a second ago, Mark, that you're fans as well.
Absolutely, big fans. I mean,
And also, Dusty, since you're being so quiet, who are you looking forward to seeing on this cruise? You got any friends or pals out there?
Susan Cowsell.
Oh, yeah. God love her. Just a tornado. Just a tornado of entertainment.
Oh, she's a bundle of bundles.
That might be the best way I've ever heard her described, and I love her with all my heart. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but Dusty, you've been a part of the band for about 40 years now. Is that? 40 years? Yeah. Joined when you were 15. Larry, you're also at about 40 years. Is that correct there, Larry?
I'm one day behind Dusty.
One day behind Dusty.
Yeah.
Joe, you're just a youngin' sitting at 35 years. Is that correct? 35 years in the band?
Yes.
And then the true baby down here at the end, Mr. Dawson, is only 16 years.
Baby Root. That's me.
Baby Roots. I am Groot.
We make Mark go get us things.
Yeah.
We make him do our laundry.
He had a different word for it, which I
Yeah.
shall not say in a friendly audience.
Yeah.
Mark is desperately
Bring me
trying
a
to
beer,
get us
Mark.
to hire someone else so he doesn't have to be the new guy anymore.
You need a fifth root just to take the pressure off him.
Or one of these guys could quit, and I could bring someone new in. He could be our little valet.
So, Mark, who would you like to quit? Just kidding. No. Don't go there. So Dusty and Larry, since you've been in the longest, well, actually, Joe, you can jump in as well. When you guys were looking at a new lead vocalist and bass player, what about this man right here stood out? Why go this direction?
He paid me.
That's good.
It was a cool about $20K, and I said, "You're in."
Yeah. More than the other guy.
No, actually, he came to us through our agency, of which you know Paradise
Yep,
Artists.
Paradise,
And one of the agents at Paradise Artists worked with Mark in Chicago, and then ended up moving to Paradise at Ojai, California.
Oh, hi, yeah.
And Rob got very ill. And so we knew we had to make a move, whether he didn't tour anymore or whether we needed support for Rob.
Sure.
And the other agent said, "I got a guy that's going to fit. It's going to work great." So we contacted Mark, and he came in and nailed it. And he sounded a lot like Rob and stays very true to all the melodies from the original recordings. You guys have heard him before.
Why would you change Why would you change a beautiful melody? There's no reason to do that.
They're gold records.
Yeah.
So-
There is the most common thing that we hear as the charter organizers, if you will, and we view ourselves just as a shepherd. We don't view ourselves as in control. We view the audience as in control, because what we hear feedback-wise determines who we hire the next time, determines often, the fact that you guys have been back 5 times means all those payouts from you to them is going well. So, strong move.
Oh, it's simple math.
It is. You turned that 20K into 5 trips on
Yeah,
the...
we can have our yearly meeting right after this.
Yeah.
We'll take care of everybody.
But one of the most common things we hear, if not the most common thing we hear, is and I'm speaking as a fan, I'm speaking as one of the guests, we love the records, we love the music the way we remember it, the way we heard it, the way it was on the album, the way it was on the radio. They'll forgive you a little play and tinkering here and there as long as you do it at least once the way you did it the first time.
That's
and
very true.
We hear that all the time, and so I love the fact that you said that he doesn't change anything. He sings it the way originally it was created. That's huge. That's way bigger than you give it credit for, because I know that's what people love.
That's
You're right.
what we were looking for.
Yeah.
That's what we do as an ensemble as well as recreate.
Yes.
We believe, these are near perfect pop songs, and why would you change any of the notes? Just bring it. We try to bring a little energy, and it's all about the memory. That's if you heard a different version, it wouldn't affect you the same way necessarily. Yeah. So
Yeah. People say, I remember, I was doing such and such at that moment. Yeah, I'm that way too. I'm a musician, and I actually like jazz music, but when it comes to pop tunes, I go to see concerts. I don't particularly. Well, I certainly don't want to hear. Here's if it's an oldie school. Here's our new album.
Yeah.
That. I know some of the fans. I was having this same conversation with one of the fans, but I like that myself. There may be, like you said, a little phrasing here and there, but I like that song, and I bought that album because I liked the parts the way they were and the melodies that it's not just a fan thing. Even musicians, I think, feel the same way.
When I interviewed Randy Bachman, he actually said, and I think this was last cruise, I don't think he said it this cruise, he was on the 70s as well as the 60s. He actually said, they did an interview with Sting not long ago, and Sting actually did a whole diatribe about the impact that music has on memory. It's right there with smell, in that when you smell something, your memory triggers very quickly with smells. Music does something similar. And Sting said, for instance, ask someone right now what they were doing 10 years ago today. Nobody knows. Ask them what they were doing 5 months ago today. Nobody knows. Ask them what they were doing the first time they heard Midnight Confessions. They know. They might have children to show for it. He used a different song, but that was Sting's point, was music gives you instant memories. You guys have to have found that's true over the years. I mean, you must hear that a lot, that your music played a special role.
Yeah. Moments in time, Vietnam War.
Yeah, a lot of those.
For us, Vietnam War and Let's Live for Today, and those songs that were right in the middle of that Vietnam conflict, that Vietnam nightmare. And we get a lot of comments from soldiers and men and women, veterans that were there, and absolutely, they remember.
Is there a better feeling as a band or as an artist than having someone who was in the most dire of situations, be it a foxhole, be it whatever they were, and telling you that your music helped get me through it?
I'll tell you, the first time that happened to us, I think we were at a veterans hospital in Colorado doing a tour. We work with an wonderful organization. But the first time one of the vets told us that, your music is what got us through. We knew what tomorrow brought, but we listened to your music. Man, it hits your heart.
Oh.
And we walked out of there feeling, it was a mixed emotion day, I think, for us all.
It was called Help Hospitalize Veterans. Yes. We did several dates around the mainland.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Part of what we did was so eye-opening, and we would go in the day before our show, and we were privileged enough to go to the hospital and visit the wounded soldiers. Yeah. And I got the chills saying it right now. Yeah. To walk in there and see soldiers with no limbs, no eyes, no arms, and we would chat with them and try to lift them up a little bit. And what they did, something very cool. They would close circuit TV the concert to all of those hospital rooms where those soldiers were. And we just walk out of there just thinking, my God, are we ever the luckiest people on the planet? Because they did that. So it was, help hospitalize veterans.
It was pretty draining, too, as it wasn't just Vietnam-era vets. There were World War II vets.
Oh, wow.
There were Afghanistan vets and Iraqi vets. And
Remember
these kids were like 19 years old and and were missing a leg. And that was brutal. So that just kind of makes it all real. It was really
puts it in
important.
perspective.
Yeah.
Remember the one older woman that drove? Was it Eisenhower?
Yeah, drove Eisenhower around in England. She was working at the hospital.
Unbelievable.
When he was in
Obviously,
England,
World War II,
Yeah.
She was sharp as a tack, too.
Oh, she.
It's a fascinating bit of perspective, I think, to your point, Larry. When you encounter something like that, and I hear the reverence in all of your voices, which is beautiful. Which not all artists remember where they came from. Not all artists recognize that though you are the star, there are people out there that are giving everything in some cases. Yeah. And the fact that you guys are touring and doing things like that and going to these homes and reaching out, that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But B, it's also, I'm guessing it helps stay humble. It helps keep you recognizing your position. I think, I didn't hear who said it, but how lucky are we?
Yeah, as Dusty said,
Yeah, sorry. Joe said, how lucky are we? That's got to be a great dose of perspective to go into an establishment like that and chat with those folks.
It really was. I mean, as Dusty mentioned, there's some of the folks in there. They're in bad shape.
Sure.
You don't even see the physical, all of the physical. A lot of it's mental, and they've got real issues. And we go in there, and they say things like, "Oh, thank you. Why are you thanking us? We're here to say thanks to you because you did give the sacrifice." And it is humbling. And the thing about it is, though, the very first time we did this many years ago, we were affected by it, but we were ready and excited about doing it the next time and seeing what more stories. And we'll do it again anytime they call us. We're glad to be part of it.
Good on you. Good on you.
Hey, Jason.
Yes.
Just a very quick question
Please.
for you. Do you age? I mean, man, I don't know.
It's
I know it's
2016. It was the first time we met him.
Yeah.
2016.
It's been a few years.
Unbelievable.
It's it's the salt air. I think it keeps me fresh.
My God.
I don't think you guys do either, for that matter.
Not at all.
As you know,
Not at all.
so I just slipped that in there to be kind. I was being kind.
Shameless.
I was trying to be kind. As you know, I like to have the audience write down questions so they can get a chance to chat to you as well. Any one of you can tackle this. Jim from Canada, how do you stay fresh after the thousands and thousands of performances you guys have under your belts?
Is
That's
anybody fresh?
Define fresh.
We can't say.
The silence means no one is fresh.
Yeah. He's assuming we're fresh.
How do you get up for a show? How about that? How do you get feisty for a
That's
show?
how we
Yeah.
get up for it.
This.
The energy that comes out of this is what gets us going.
Absolutely.
To give and take, and you give, we take, and we give back.
And maybe Jim's question, he meant like as far as playing the music or
Yeah.
whatever, because people
Yeah.
do ask us,
Sure.
how do you play that song 1,000 times? Aren't you sick of it? The answer is no. We are not sick of it. Those songs are the reason we are up here. So let's just play them and have fun with it.
Yeah.
No complaints.
And also, for all we just talked about earlier about staying true to the song, it's not as if every show amongst us, at the end of every show, we're in the car or the van afterwards, hey, that was a good show.
Sure.
That felt good. It's not as if we're playing the exact same part, very robot-like. There are differences. There are good shows and some, ones that we feel musically are renditions. They change from night to night. So that.
What do you do if you feel like you're coming off? Is the energy different if you're coming off a show that you didn't love personally? I mean, the audience always loves it, but if you're coming off a show where you're going, gosh, we just weren't as we'd like to be, do you have a different energy into the next show, or do you just catalog it and the next show is good to go because you're ready?
It's pretty much the latter. Just
put it
move
away,
on.
put it away and on. I like that.
we don't really-
It's the moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
And any moment on a Tuesday night in July and a Wednesday night in October, any one of those days can be more magical.
Sure.
Just because of a whole set of circumstances. The audio,
Yeah.
quality of the audio in the room, the
Type
people,
of room.
where we're at, all of that
There are
plays
factors.
A lot of variables, absolutely. Do you prefer at this point in the grassroots, in this point of your careers, do you prefer to play larger stadiums or more intimate theaters?
Anything.
in. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I just got to ask Dusty a question. Do we have a Tuesday in July? Because I haven't heard about it yet.
That's a new wardrobe person coming in. Yeah.
As far as crowd size, I think what Dusty just said, there are so many variables.
Huge, yeah.
Usually, speaking for myself, I prefer something more intimate, under 1,500 or so, that you could kind of see everybody.
Yeah.
When you're in anything larger, you're never going to see the people in the back. You can wave. It's a fake wave. Hi, people in the back.
Yeah.
They're not seeing you.
Yeah, there's a good in between. I remember doing Mile High Stadium, 106,000 people in Mile High Stadium, and it was a little bit almost strange.
Sure.
It was too many people.
And sound-wise,
many.
too. That,
Oh,
as
sure.
you
Yeah,
well
it
know,
bounces
that
around
is,
in there, and it was very strange. But I mean, I like little supper clubs too.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so intimate.
You
And
know-
you get about 200 people in there, and they're right up, and the swirl is there with the audience and the audio, and it all. And that's a good setting too.
It is.
So
The first time we played on Flower Power, we were on this very stage in this room, and we just thought, this is the greatest crowd ever. Let's do this again. So it was fun the next day on the pool. So just keep coming. Just keep coming and enjoy.
One of the things I say to the audience a lot, and you've heard me say this more times than you can count, is the louder the audience is, the more fun the audience is having, the better the show is on stage. And I feel like I'm a broken record saying that, but I do feel like this day and age it bears repeating because of social media, because of television screens, because of cell phones. We watch most things without emoting anymore. Have you felt a change in concerts, or are you still seeing the same energy that you saw back in the day?
I haven't
Say
felt
it's the
a change.
same.
Same.
I think it's the same. I don't see a change. Live is live.
Live is
you know,
live.
right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the whole trick.
And I think live is so important. Everybody here, this whole room, including us, is COVID made it more important to get back to live music.
Amen.
I mean, that was the energy that was coming out when it all got back started again was a big deal.
Yeah,
That
our
was
first show
big
back was
deal.
crazy.
Oh, the cruises were crazy. Our first year back. I mean, the intensity was, the passion was so amazing. I'm sure you, to your point, I'm sure you guys felt that even more, you know.
It's called pent up.
Yeah.
Right?
The other thing that was crazy was the amount of testing we had to do to get back on the ship.
5,000 swabs later,
We had straws up our nose for days.
Okay, it's 12:20. Come on by.
I
for
still
your-
have one stuck up there, I think.
Yeah. We all perpetually have them. Oh, my gosh. We got some more questions here. Oh, is there a time, for any and all of you, what was or is there a time that you could categorize as your favorite time together as this group as it sits here? Favorite show, favorite time, favorite period?
They're all fantastic.
Yeah, good. Generic, right down the
Good
middle.
answer, Larry. Good
Thank
answer.
you.
It really is hard to pick a good time. Now, if you ask what's the worst show we ever did, we all know the answer to that.
Funny enough, Terry, what's the worst show you guys ever did?
Well, you know what? Actually, back to the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I speak for the other three guys, but not to be patronizing, but really this, for various reasons, and not just to, stroke you guys, we love you. I would, right out of the box, whether I was sitting on the Flower Power stage or not, I would say the Flower Power cruises.
Oh.
And that's partly because of you guys, but also it's a chance for us to, at any given time or any given trip, someone brings their wife. Sometimes we've all brought our wives, and it's a family thing. It's a vacation. It's a cruise, and you play a little bit. I mean, that would be my answer. And again, it's not just a patronizing.
He's enjoying himself, is what he's saying. Me too.
These people, And Mark's wife is here. I wish my wife was here. Just things,
Well, thankfully, Mark's wife is here. Carrie comes to us from New Hampshire. Carrie likes this question, and I like this question too. Are there any songs that, whether before you guys joined or since, that you guys have turned down, or that the original band turned down that became hits? Anything that got turned down? Oh, everybody points at Larry.
Well, Don't Pull was turned down, but we
Don't
played
Pull
it anyway.
Yeah.
So Don't Pull Your Love was written for the band, and the band said, yeah, we'll pass on that. So Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds went ahead and had a giant hit.
Internationally.
So now we do it. Why turn down a great song,
If you listen to that song, Don't Pour Your Love, and you listen to Too Divided by Love, just structurally, they're very similar. Were they not written by the same? I believe they
Ask
were.
Mark.
Weren't they written by the same guys?
The songwriting team that wrote that, I thought, was responsible for Temptation Eyes, but perhaps Too Divided by... Dusty would know that. Same people?
See, they're just passing it around. Dusty, Mark will know. Dusty should.
It's called deflection.
Yeah.
Somebody.
yeah, do that.
Speaking of screens, Karen joins us from Pennsylvania. I just want to send out a huge thank you for singing to the noisemakers each day during COVID shutdown. It was a highlight of my day when we were all stuck up.
Good job, Mark.
I'm not even sure well, Larry might know. Just so those who don't,
Yeah,
and thank
explain.
you for that.
Yeah.
During COVID, we were all down. It's that simple. We couldn't hang out. We couldn't play music. We couldn't hang out with you guys and play for you. So through the technological advances that we know as Facebook, for 438 days in a row, I went live to play my guitar and sing songs to a fan group, and that's all. It was just, I felt it was nice to have a bridge because there was no music being played out there. So somebody counted and told me it was 438 days in a row. I guess they're all on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, I thought you were counting.
He lost.
We didn't work for 16 months.
I know.
Not one show.
Mark, did you play the same song every day? Yeah.
I don't think I ever repeated one, but I may have. There's a lot of songs.
Actually, Dusty, you just said something interesting. You said you didn't play or you didn't have a gig for 16 months, a grassroots show. How did you stay fresh individually? How did you keep your chops? Because that is something that, 16 months is a long time to not be on stage at any.
It's called woodshedding. You just
Yeah.
sit down with your instrument and you woodshed and you just stay loose and learn new things and
To folks that might
stay
not,
attached.
to folks that might not understand the term woodshedding, explain that for someone.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, practice is what woodshedding is on a musical instrument.
It's a common phrase in the music industry. You'll
When
hear it a
you
lot.
learn new things, you're always trying to stretch your brain and learn a new tonal center or a new chord progression or something new, always to keep feeding.
And when you're doing the things that your piano teacher made you do, I call that calisthenics. Yeah. Because you're just doing this, and that's repetitive.
Sometimes it's that.
Mark, actually, this one's for you from Kathy. She wants to know, how did you and your lovely wife become known as Mr. and Mrs. Noise?
Oh, well, in it was right after I joined Grassroots, probably 2009, maybe it was. Shortly thereafter, I had done a solo CD, and it was just named it "Making Noise." And then I'm not really sure where we were at the time. Maybe we were at a festival. So my wife and I were at a festival somewhere, and somebody we were standing around a few friends, a couple fans hanging out there, and this woman walked up and, "Oh, it's Mr. and Mrs. Noise." We all kind of went, "That's cute."
Sure.
Yeah. And the folks that were around sort of picked it up, and within a couple of weeks, people are sending me, "Hey, Mr. Noise, would you sign this? Where did this come?" And then so it just stuck, and if it worked,
It works, yeah,
It's
hey,
fine.
don't-
And then I have a radio program that
Yes.
is called Making Noise.
Making Noise.
So that's all part of it.
It's fantastic. Terry, this is an interesting question. A lot of bootleg record companies put your songs on their albums. Was the band ever given royalties, or how do you battle that? That's a great question. Everyone looks at Dusty. Everybody looks down at Dusty.
We've discussed this before.
Clearly,
There's like a
yeah.
ton of them that had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
There's one out there that's got the picture of us on it that we had on the CD cover that we had absolutely nothing to do with it. And it takes lawyers and a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then you got to look at how many units it sold. Is it worth it to go chase it around?
And that was being sold at Walmart. Well, didn't you say you first saw that one at Walmart?
$5.99 at
It's not like
Walmart.
somebody's selling them
We
out
had
of the back
nothing
of their
to do
truck or
with it.
something.
It happens all the time.
Just shoot him? Is that what someone just said? Good God.
Somebody say that?
Yeah, that's what. Just
I like
take
the
him
way
out
you
back.
think. Yeah.
Talk about woodshedding. Yeah, let's. I'm sure that is in the musical industry. I mean, and that leans right into musical piracy now too. It's all kind of in the
Directly.
same vein, right? Of
boy.
the fact that now it's file sharing as they call it, and one album can become 1 million all of a sudden to 1 million people, and they only bought one. That's another thing that's got to be frustrating, unbelievably frustrating for a band.
The wild, wild west.
It is.
I mean, it's relatively new, this
Yeah.
whole new thing.
Yeah.
File sharing, digital download, digital, yeah.
And when the CD, the Walmart CD we're talking about, when we saw this, we're like, and our names are listed inside. I actually went and bought one because I wanted to hear what they
You
put on
supported
there.
him. That's the guy right there.
They got
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I returned it the next day.
This is crap. I don't know who did this.
Back to that smell that when you hear a song, there's a smell.
Yeah, we don't even know. We don't even know who the artist was that played that music. It's absolutely not any grassroots making those songs, but they are
did it
grassroots.
sound any good at all? No. Larry, no.
He said it, not
no.
me.
Larry said no. Toby comes to us from Utah. So many of the 60s groups rose to fame at the same time. Was there a lot of rivalries, or were the camaraderies that we see today still present then? And I know you guys joined a little bit later, but still, tell us a little bit about,
Yeah, I mean, we came in, we weren't in the middle of all that, so our experience has been, it's been fantastic because everybody had sort of matured, and all of us are on this same, matured a lot, and all of us are on this same kind of circuit, and we work together all the time. I mean, we're with all these different bands doing different things throughout the year, and everybody's great.
I think the rivalries were more internal.
internal. Yeah.
Internal in the bands, not from band to band to band. It was more internal. That one person thought they were a star more than the other ones, and that caused a lot of disharmony.
Well, and that's where you get the breakups, and then you get the
Absolutely.
solo careers and the whole nine
Yeah, the
yards and
trying to solo
the
career.
attempt at the solo career.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of that was going on.
Eddie comes to us from Long Island. I like Eddie. Eddie has good questions.
Eddie, how you doing?
Eddie's got good questions. Eddie says, "What is the most requested grassroots song?"
It's got to be Midnight Confessions.
Gotta be Midnight, right?
Followed
Yeah.
followed closely by Temptation
Temptation
Eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah, that's probably. I think maybe men like Midnight Confessions and women like. Am I wrong? Is Temptation Eyes more of a women's favorite? Yeah, it lends itself that way, maybe.
Let's flip this slightly. What are your favorite grassroots songs? Doesn't have to be the most popular. What's your individually? What are your favorite songs to play?
Mark just called me a girl because I like Temptation Eyes.
It lends itself that way.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll dress differently for the show tomorrow.
Blend right in.
Something flirty.
Something flirty. Joe, what about you, sir?
I'd have to say Temptation Eyes.
You do? Okay, yeah. All right.
I've always been a huge fan of The River is Wide.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little different. And, when I joined the group, they were playing it sometimes, and I had to get on bended knee and say, please put this in the regular list. They knocked me around a little bit, and then I paid Dusty his 20 grand, and we started playing River is Wide.
That's true. That actually was kind of a B-side,
Yeah, you
so to speak, for
put
for
it
a
in the
while
longer
there for us.
shows.
Yeah.
I
about
actually
you,
like
sir?
Wait a Million Years.
Yes. Great song.
That's usually our opening song, and
Yeah.
that's got great energy to me.
I was a guest stopped me earlier and said, please ask about Sooner or Later, saying that was one of their all-time favorites. And sometimes you see rankings, the grassroots top 10 songs of all times, and Sooner or Later kind of sneaks in there at some point above Midnight and above Temptation. But none of you mentioned that. I find that interesting. That some people do rank it.
There's so many.
Of
There's
course,
so many
of
big
course, of
giant
course.
hits. I like Heaven Knows.
Yeah.
And
love that song,
you
too.
mentioned Sooner or Later in particular. If everybody would recall, I think it was around 1978-ish. The California Raisins were doing TV commercials, and one of the songs they used in one of the commercials was Sooner or Later. They had the Grapevine and some others. But I think that kind of pumped it. And I saw it on a Target commercial once, maybe 10 years ago, doing Sooner or Later. So it's out there.
It's out there. Oh, it is. It is. Before we let you go, I know we're kind of closing in on time here. I'm going to go individually down the group. Let's talk about influences. Let's talk about just the youngest version of yourself when you're getting into music and you're really starting to, this is something I want to do. Who did you look up to?
That's a good question.
Am I first?
Yeah, you get to go first. You're the rookie.
Well, initially, and I'm sure this is probably a boring answer, but Paul McCartney. I saw the Beatles when I was 6 years old. No, I was probably 8 years old by then. Saw the Beatles, and I went, I don't know what that is, but I want to do that. And I didn't know how to get what I wanted. But then a few years later, I heard Susie Q by Creedence Clearwater. I went, hey, I think I could probably figure out how to play that, and that the rest is history. I figured it out, and John Fogerty became my new favorite. And of course, gone back to Paul, but that was it. Creedence and the Beatles made me want to play. Yeah, I just wanted to play those songs.
Joe.
I'd have to say the Jimi Hendrix group really was my just that the Jimi Hendrix experience.
The experience, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. That was my introduction, and well, to this day, that whole band to me was just, they were loose,
Yes.
but tight.
I was just gonna say,
and they just yeah. That's it for me.
One of those intangible things.
Yeah.
You never know how that's going to work.
Larry.
Junior year in high school, I played Take 5 in the talent show. And
Take
senior
5.
year, I played Blue Rondo a la Turk in this talent show because Dave Brubeck was my favorite piano player.
Yeah.
And then that kind of went, oh, Ray Manzarek with the Doors. And then it kind of went, Chicago, oh my God. And I am the biggest Chicago fan. So Danny's here tonight, which is awesome. So anyway, that was me.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
I
tough.
like.
It's tough to narrow it down when you have varied tastes like that, and I think all four of us are in that. I was thinking more in this genre,
Yeah.
60s stuff.
It could be any genre you want. Whatever sparked your interest as a youngin.
Well, yeah.
Please, Dusty, go ahead.
Kitchen, yeah, and Chick Corea for me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, and the Return to Forever, and that's what first got my ear perked. I like Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
And artists like that, and then I got into pop music later, into rock and roll, and I liked Eric Clapton, and I loved Jeff Beck, and I listened to those guys a lot, and so it's a blend of Chick Corea and Jeff Beck and that's what artists do. They just absorb and sponge up everything that's out there, and then it molds into what you do.
Always steal from the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to sound like that person, so I'm going to learn everything they do.
Yeah.
And then you learn from this person, then you put the two together, and it doesn't sound like either one of them. Now it sounds like you.
I think that's true for a lot of, if you look at the greatest musicians, you look at the greatest comedians, you look at the greatest whatever, people that are performing, the ones who do it the best are hard to emulate because they do it, what their best is different. It's not like there's one path to being great. Not one voice is great. There's so many great voices. Not one guitar lick, not one piano player, not one drummer can we identify. Rarely can you say, oh, that is the best. There's such a diverse. But if you look at the ones that didn't do it very well, there's often the same pitfalls that you can identify and go, oh, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that right there. As you guys build this current group, I mean, I know we've been blessed to have you guys, like you said, so many times. You guys sound so fantastic. You sound so true to the sound. You sound so beautiful in your performances. You're what it's supposed to be. You really are. You're what it's supposed to be. So I know I speak on behalf of these folks when I say thank you. Thank you for staying true. Thank you for doing what you do. And thank you for bringing it to us.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks to all our fans, too. You guys are the best.
We're honored to have you. Do me a favor, my friends and family, as loud as we can. Give it up for the Grassroots.